blacks knew me as Haydar, and the Turks knew me as Ta'bir. The Romans knew me as Batritza. The Armenians knew me as Farik. My mother knows me as Haydar, and my father knows me as Bahir. He says, anyone who comes loving me is faith, and hatred of me is hypocrisy. Allah says in the Quran, fear Allah and be with those who do good. I am those who do good. Allah says in the Quran, those who remember Him standing, sitting and reclining. He says, I am those who remember Him standing, sitting and reclining. Allah says, be with a message to those who have a heart. I am those who have a heart. Allah says, men who you will know by their marks on their faces. He says, me, my cousin, my brother Ja'far and Hamza are the men who you know by their faces. He says, on the day of judgment, Rasulullah will precede me and I will precede my Shia. And for any of my Shia, I will give them the shafa'ah that they loved me and they knew that loving me is faith. Here he explains his position. For the whole reason the explanation of the position comes. Why? Because when Ali Akbar comes forward in the 10th of Muharram, Ali Akbar makes it clear that the war on this side is a war on Ali ibn Abi Talib and no one but Ali ibn Abi Talib. That's it. Karbala was fought as a revenge for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Abu Abdullah himself comes out and he says, oh people, why is it that you want to kill me? They say, Bughd and Labu can read. We want revenge for your father. Because they had seen the father had killed all of their ancestors and he had established justice on earth as the Imam of Allah. So when Ali Akbar comes forward, he says, Ana Ali ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali. Straight away, he makes sure they understand that in my line, I am the son of Hussein, who is the son of Ali. And when he strikes them, he says, ضَرْبَ غُلَامٍ هَاشِمِيٍّ عَلَوِي. I will strike you with a strike of a youth who is a Hashimi and the Alawi. Highlighting that the wilayah within Ali Akbar was the most important reason he saw in himself, that he had to sacrifice his life. And that's why we notice with Ali Akbar that when a father loses a son in the way he does, it is the most difficult of moments. And of course, he was dear to him. Ayatollah Najafi Mar'ashi, for example, he narrates a story which all of us need to understand about his time when he was studying in Iraq, the love that he had. What does he say? He says, when we were studying in Iraq, he says, I had a chest infection. I had this chest infection, and also I economically was not very strong. He says, what happened was that I wanted to go and ask Amir al-Mu'mineen. I went to the grave of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ayatollah Najafi Mar'ashi says, he says, I went to the grave of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and when I went there on my way, I asked Amir al-Mu'mineen, please help me. I am in need. You are Allah's Imam. Please help us in the name of Allah. He says, I didn't receive a reply, and I had been told always in the books that if you do not receive a reply from Amir al-Mu'mineen, then always go to the grave of Abu Abdullah. Whenever you want to reply, go to Abu Abdullah. So he says, I went towards Karbala. I went to Abu Abdullah's grave. I entered the grave of Abu Abdullah. Having entered the grave of Abu Abdullah, when I went in, I went there near the grave. He says, I started praying. I said, Ya Abu Abdullah, you are Allah's leader on earth. I am asking for you to help me in my situation that I have a chest infection and that I am also economically not very sound. He said what? He said that I looked around and I was wondering, where should I ask Abu Abdullah from? In his grave in Karbala, those who have been there will know that Ali Akbar is right next to his father. He says, I knew Ali Akbar loved his father and I knew his father loved him more than anyone. So he said that what I did is I asked through Ali Akbar, saying, Ali Akbar, in your name and in your father's name, Ya Allah, please help me. He says, straight away I turned around. He said, I found that my father was sitting there in the grave near Abu Abdullah, in the haram near Abu Abdullah. My father was reciting Quran. He said, while my father was reciting the Quran, he saw me. He said, my son, what are you doing here? He said, my father, I have come because I need some help. Economically, I am not sound. I have come to ask Abu Abdullah. What does his father say? His father says, my son, Abu Abdullah is just leaving now. Go and approach him. Go ask him. He is going to help some people. Ayatollah Najafi Mar'ashi, he says that I turned around, I saw Abu Abdullah there. He said, I went towards Abu Abdullah. I said, Ya Abu Abdullah, I need your help. I have a chest infection which doesn't leave me. Also, I need your help in economic reasons. reasons. Aba Abdullah is narrated by Ayatollah Najafi Ma'ashi to have given him some piece of small grass he gave him. He said, take this, it will help you. He said, as for economic reasons, you will be helped as well. He said, I want to also visit Medina. He said, you will never visit Medina. It's not written for you to visit Medina. He says, but my son, understand one thing. I have helped you on a night like this because you asked through Ali Akbar. And anyone who approaches me through Ali Akbar, I will help him in whichever way he wants. It is narrated on the 10th of Muharram that the people are all gathered in the tent. They hear Ali Akbar come out and recite Adhan. Ali Akbar used to always recite Adhan, always for the people to hear. There is a narration that comes about a Christian man who would come to the mosque of Rasulullah. When he comes to the mosque of Rasulullah, he comes and he enters. The Muslims tell him, leave the mosque, you're not allowed to be here. He says, no, I have come to become a Muslim. They say to him, why? He says, in my dream I saw the Prophet Jesus saying to me that I must submit to the Prophet Muhammad. He says, therefore I have come to submit. Is there anyone from the family of Muhammad here at the time? So the reply comes as what? The reply comes, Hussein ibn Ali is here in Medina, you can speak to him. Aba Abdullah has walked in, he has seen him. He said to him what? He said to him, I hear you have come to the religion of Islam. He said, yes. He said, how? He said, Prophet Isa has come in my dream and he told me to become a Muslim and to submit to the Prophet Muhammad. Aba Abdullah at that moment, he is overjoyed. Aba Abdullah, you know what he says to him? He says, if I show you a young man who looks like Rasulullah, would you be able to tell me what he looks like in the dream? He said, show me who he is. Aba Abdullah, he put Ali Akbar into the Prophet's mosque. Once he put him, Ali Akbar had a cover which was covering his face. Aba Abdullah, he removed the cover from Ali Akbar's face. It is narrated that the Christian man fell on the ground kissing Ali Akbar's face. He said, Wallah, his face reminds me of Rasulullah in the way it looks so khalqan and khuluqa. The way he is, the appearance that is there looking like Rasulullah. At this moment, Aba Abdullah, he looked at the man. He said to him, oh man, can I ask you one question? If someone were to touch your son, or someone was to hit your son, what would you do to him? He said, Wallah, I would be in pain if someone touched my son. He said, do you see this Ali Akbar one day? They will cut him and ever. They will cut him into pieces out of his love for his grandfather. It is narrated on the 10th of Muharram what happened is that he recites the Adhan. He then knows that the companions have all died. He comes into the tent of his father one final time. He enters the tent and his father is kneeling on the ground. Aba Abdullah has all his friends, all those companions, Muslim ibn Awsat, Hadith, ibn Marahib, they had all been lost. You know what he says? He comes to Aba Abdullah. He says, Aba Abdullah, he says, my father, please let me go out and fight on the battlefield. Aba Abdullah, normally, when he replies, he normally tells the person, no, my son, you stay, don't go out. But on this occasion, Aba Abdullah knew that he had to let Ali Akbar go. He takes his son, he begins to hug him. He says, Ali Akbar, let me smell you one final time. He smells him one final time. He hugs him one final time. Ali Akbar now begins to leave. Do you know what Aba Abdullah says to him? He says, Ali Akbar, it is difficult for a father to leave his son on the battlefield, but it is even more difficult for a mother to leave her son. Akbar, go and say salam to your mother Layla one final time. He enters the tent, he says salam to his mother Layla. He says salam to his auntie Zainab, brothers and sisters. How many does she bid farewell to on the 10th of Muharram? He begins to hug all of them and he leaves the tent. His father continues to cry. He leaves, his father puts him on the horse. When his father puts him on the horse, Ali Akbar moves. Suddenly Ali Akbar is narrated to have turned around but he hears footsteps. He turns around, he sees it's his father again. He says, my father, I have already bid you farewell. He said, Akbar, it is difficult for a father to leave his son. Please come down, let me hug you one final time. He hugs him, he lets him go. He comes forward and he says, Ana Ali ibn al حسين ابن علي: نحن وبيت الله أولى بالنبي، أطعنكم بالرمح حتى ينثني، أضربكم بالسيف أحمي عن أبي، ضرب غلام هاشمي عنوي، والله لا يحكم فينا ابن الدعي. He comes out. One of the people says, surely this is the face of Rasulullah that has come out. There has never been a face seen like this. They come forward, they attack him. In the hadith it's narrated, Aba Abdullah was standing outside the tent. Layla kept on looking at Aba